Our next speaker is Mr. Osman Sultan. He is the founder, Chief Executive Officer of Emirates Integrated Telecommunications Company, also known as DO. His vision for creating a telecommunications company that would transform UAE's industry monopoly while adhering to its values and delivering on its promise. Can I hear a round of applause for Mr. Osman Sultan?
Good afternoon, and I have a question to all of you. How many times in a week or even in a day don't you hear people around you saying, I have the impression that everything is changing so fast? How many times in mundane conversations around you don't you hear people saying, I have this feeling that every minute something new is happening? So this feeling or this unconscious awareness that change is around us is really peaking in a way. Now, change is something that we have. Change is really something that is natural when it corresponds to evolution. I mean, we are born children, then we grow up. This is something somehow that we have factored and integrated. When change becomes a little bit faster, then we feel it as, when change is a little bit more rapid, then immediately we feel that we are out of our comfort zone. When somebody is telling you, you have to do things differently than what you have planned, then you have this impression that you are annoyed. When the airplane altitude has to go faster than, change faster than usual, the pilot will tell you we are in a zone of turbulence. Now, when change goes, the pace of change becomes even faster and becomes disrupting the things that you are living, then you feel it as a crisis. Sorry for that. And if you look at crises that are around us, you will always see that there is a pace of something happening, a pace of a flow that is radically changing and being disrupted. From the change of financial flows to the pace of a virus propagating. These are all global crises that is happening. Now, in the ultra-connected cities and nations and environments that we are living, we all are flooded by numbers. How many millions of emails are exchanged in 1 minute? How many millions of downloads that are happening in a second? How many hours are uploaded, of content are created and uploaded on YouTube in every minute? And that gives us the impression that things are really, everything is changing, everything is new. Indeed, we have new technology that is happening, but the important, I'm sure that almost all of you do not look at this technology, and we don't even know what's in the background of these changes in technology. The important thing is the changes in capabilities that this is. I can do more things. I can do something new. Changes of capabilities are inducing that we are having new patterns of behavior. Because I can do something different, because I can order a taxi differently, I am changing the way I'm doing things. I am changing my behavior. Now, this has a consequence, is that we are seeing new business players emerging. If you just think that most of the companies, most of the names that you are hearing or that you are using in your day-to-day life, the Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, chat on, all these, Netflix, all these names that you are hearing, because they are now embedded part of our day-to-day life, have less than a decade of existence. You can understand what I'm meaning when I'm saying the acceleration of change. New business players are inducing new business models. We are seeing how the traditional industry of photographing is completely changing. We saw how the traditional music industry that had decades, if not a century of history, had seen its borders completely disrupted just by the iTunes business model. So these are new business models that are happening. New business models means that things are flowing in a different pattern. And sometimes I hear around me thinkers, intellectuals saying, are we witnessing new civilization models? So I ask myself the question, and I want to step back a little bit and see what is the pattern, what is the model that we are seeing. And actually, it is a model that, in my opinion, a simple story that is as old as civilization itself. Nothing changed. It is not a coincidence that cities, communities, civilizations have existed and developed along natural ways of communication that allowed mankind to do things. First of all, to communicate with other people. Second, to be able to transport. In my opinion, everything is built around ways or means of transporting things, these communication channels. And then content is just flowing in these, and then used to allow us to do things with it in our experience, in our lifestyle. Don't think about content as in video content or content as the things that we see in a technology environment. Think about these trees in forest that are cut and then are moved along rivers and then going to factories to become things that we use in our day-to-day life. This equation has created what I call a pattern of unshared certainty. You have the universe of content. Here you find all the movie production, cinema, all the publishing houses, all the radio, etc., magazines, whatever. You had the channel universe, and you had, at the end, instruments, tools that allowed us to use it. From the old phones, telexes, faxes, etc., to more sophisticated things that we see today. And in this channel, users, one have to confess, did not really have or did not matter in the power of this ecosystem. Now, things have changed radically. These universes existed with what I call the unshared certainties. I worked in an environment like this since more than 30 years. Decades ago, in the telecom industry, we had unshared answers. We know the answer, we know how to do things. Things are changing because two things are happening. First of all, there are new content aggregation models. As I said, it's not the iPod or the iPhone or the iPad that disrupted the borders of the music industry. It is the iTunes business model, the way this content was aggregated and ready to be channeled. And the second thing is that the different appliances at the end of this equation, you have seen the conversion of the three screens that we usually had: a mobile screen, a computer, and a TV. And we started initially doing things that we do on our TV, on our laptop. We're just watching DVDs. Then we started doing things with the smartphone appearing. We started doing things that we used to do on our computer, on our phone. Then we started doing things with the evolution of network capabilities and technology, mobile networks technology, things that we do on TV to do it on our phone. And the most important things is that the users have became a main component and the real power, driving power of the entire ecosystem. If we think today, what is the company having the most content volume globally? Everybody will answer probably YouTube. What is the amount of content that YouTube is producing? Nothing, because you will produce yourself this. So we moved, and this is the very important thing around our theme today, the theme of questions. We moved from a world that is organized around ecosystem with unshared certainties to a world where everybody needs to share with everyone, but we are sharing questions. We are sharing uncertainties. So that is very important, because from a world where vertical silos are happening, we are moving to a world where things are becoming along shared horizontal matters that need to be discussed with multiple and new stakeholders in this equation. Now, if we look at the way this model was constructed, this construction of what I call now the abundance model. In our day-to-day life, we feel very often that we are flooded by information. We have too many people we are networking with, sharing things with. We are receiving too many emails. We are flooded. In this abundance model, moving from scarcity to abundance is forcing us to find a way to filter all this. We have all access to hundreds of TV channels. How many we use on regular basis? Probably less than you can count on your two hands' fingers. And this is something that is happening. The construction of this model happened in phases. In the mid-90s, with the beginning of the internet, we used to go to the internet like we go to a library. We were looking for an article, looking for research, and the main names were the names of these search engines, the Google, the Yahoo, the AOL. 5 years after, we started to go to the internet like we go to a shop. Then we started being able to buy something. We were booking and buying train tickets, airline tickets, etc. Then the names started to be the names of these big e-commerce companies, the Amazon of this world that started. And the real disruption, the real change, the real revolution happened yet another 5 years after, when we started going to the internet like we go to sit on a cafe. We are the networking part. Today we enter the internet just, because we want to see what our friends are doing, who is saying what, who is wearing what, who is eating what, because people are sharing all this information. And that has changed radically the entire ecosystem, enabling us to do things. If we look at patterns of innovation, used to come from the breadth of things. We were going deep into a subject, exploring this subject. Today, a lot of innovation can come just from the spread of things. On another note, accessing our knowledge. Our young kids today get their information not because it is structured information, checked information, because they heard it on the networks with their friends. And this is something. We moved as well from the depth to the spread of things. And innovation, when we speak of it, happens usually either by necessity. When man needed to walk for hours to get to a water point, then had the idea, I can just dig and have a small, and bring water. That was innovation, but that was necessity. But in the two drivers that when we are young, we study in philosophy, which are drivers of driving us or driving civilization, fear and greed and how you move from one, survival and the desire for more, then innovation started to come from exploration. These places where you get deep into a subject, you study, you explore. But more and more, with the breadth of things happening, we will see innovation happening as well by what I call serendipity, which is a game-changing outcome that is just happening almost by accident. The size and the impact and the breadth of social networking was not something that happened planned. It just happened because people owned this, it corresponded to a need, and this became really something mainstream in the behavior of people. Now, moving forward, we will see a lot of things happening and a lot of things changing. Data in amounts that we have difficulty in imagining. We are told, you read in some research, that if we want to watch all video crossing the networks globally and all over the world in 1 second, we will need 5 years of our life to watch this. That is a huge impact because this phenomena is exponentially accelerating. But the important thing is not data itself, because this data is going to be there. It's the transformation process where data will become Data will become information. Data will be gathered and will be meaningful information. Information will be treated, will become knowledge, and knowledge hopefully will serve wisdom. Moving in this towards what we call the smarter and smarter world, there are some basic headlines. The first one is that today, being connected is becoming a basic human right. And I'm not saying a basic human need, I'm going beyond that, a basic human right. The other very important thing that I already mentioned, we are moving from unshared answers to this phase of shared questions. This is why the questioning is something that is becoming very important. The other thing is there are new patterns, new models, new formats for knowledge, a new format for innovation. And the most important thing related to behavior is that we will find new models for the relation with the individual with anything that is around us. The family, the group, the friend, the school, the bank, the doctor, the shop, everything is going to be changed. And every field you